What's goody? It's your host J Rose as always, and there's a couple of teams that I think would have really interesting playoff series and are very in close contention, especially in the standings. And I wanted to talk about what I think would happen if they faced off in a playoff series. Before we get to that, please stick with me. If you mess with the videos, please like and subscribe. And also, if you super rock with the videos and you rock with me, I'm launching a membership program where you get early access to videos. You're going to get member only videos as well, priority replies to your comments, and I'll shout you out in the next video if you go to my membership program. There's going to be videos, there's going to be content, all of that stuff. So I'm gonna let y'all know again when everything is really set up for real. Make sure you press that sub button, and if you're feeling really froggy, press that join button. But let's get into the hoops. The first matchup I got here is the Lakers versus the Mavericks, and for obvious reason, there's just tension there. There just is. Everybody, when we see Luka, we're just like, damn, like this really happened. And when we see the Mavs with no Luka, we're like, damn, this really happened. But I also just think that this would be a really interesting series. I think these are two teams that have opposite issues. The Lakers, their issues are pretty obvious. It's their big men play. They have Jackson Hayes starting at the 5 right now. And as well as Jackson Hayes has been playing, that's not really who you'd ideally want to be your starting level center, right? You'd want a more high quality starting center. And then if Jackson Hayes could play like this off the bench, that would be crazy. To be fair, he's very serviceable right now. I think if Jackson Hayes can continue to give the production that he's been giving throughout this run that the Lakers have been on, because they're on a really good run, that the Lakers will be absolutely lethal, even though he is a giant weak spot on that team, right? And then we go to the Mavericks. The Mavericks issue is their guard play. Obviously, you have Kyrie Irving, but outside of that, you have Spencer Dinwiddie and you got Dante Exum. So without Luka, there's clearly a big playmaking and ball handling deficiency on that team. You've seen it in a couple games where Kyrie is getting trapped up top in the clutch moments, and there's really nobody else handling the ball as well as Kyrie or handling those situations as well as Kyrie. You lost that when you traded away Luka. However, they obviously, both teams kind of offset what the other one does really badly. So I feel like in terms of the perimeter play, the Lakers got that. In terms of the big play, the Mavs got that. So I just feel like it would be a really interesting series because the Mavericks don't got nothing for Austin Reeves, Luka, and LeBron. Those are three legitimate ball handlers, three people who can play, make, shot, create, and they can dribble the ball. They can handle the ball. So those are three guys who can legitimately do that at a high level on one team, and I don't think there's another team in the NBA quite like that. Especially being that LeBron and Luka are two of like the best players of all time. So I just think it's a very interesting dynamic. And then you go to the other side of the spectrum, you got Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, and this is all assuming that they're healthy. The Mavericks have not had a healthy stretch this entire season, so this is not a given that they're all going to be on the court. But if they are on the court, that is a big issue. And I don't know where I'm leaning right now. I feel like I would slightly lean Dallas, because I feel like the defensive pressure that they have is very elite, especially the rim pressure with Anthony Davis and D-Live and or Gaff on the floor. And then you have very good role players. Like PJ can go off on any night. Max Christie's look really good in the Mavs jersey. Najee Marshall's been good all year. Klay Thompson's been up and down, but he'll get you some shots. If he's open and he can get you some shots in the playoffs, that can swing things. So I just feel like it will be a very hard-fought series, but I think I'll lean the Mavericks way, specifically because of the depth. The next matchup we have here is the Thunder versus the Mavs. This has been the rivalry. I feel like it died down a little bit when they did trade away Luka. I don't think like people are like thinking of this as a rivalry in the same way that we were a couple of weeks ago, but still is a rivalry in the NBA, the Thunder versus the Mavericks. And the Mavericks have actually lowbroed the Thunder this entire season. We won the season series, but obviously the Thunder are the best team in the NBA right now. Maybe second best team in the NBA right now, behind the Celtics maybe. But besides that, the Thunder have been rolling. I think they have the best record in the league right now. They did just lose to the T-Wolves, but let's check that real quick. The Thunder have the second best record behind Cleveland, and I think the Thunder are better than Cleveland personally. I think that might be a good series too. But in terms of the Mavs versus the Thunder, once again, the Mavs have a huge advantage down low. That's been an issue for OKC. Obviously, they kind of supplemented that by bringing in iHeart. But with the Mavs bringing in Anthony Davis, that kind of offsets that. Now they have even more size. They have Anthony Davis at the 4, who's going to give you at least 24 and 10, at least, right? And then you have D-Live. He's going to give you great rim protection. Daniel Gafford is going to give you, I would say, good, not great rim protection. Gaff be fouling too much sometimes, but either way, two two bigs on the court at all times, more or less, right? Then you got PJ, who's going to be a really, really big small forward, and Clay and Kyrie. So I just feel like the size really might affect the Thunder. This is also one of the best defensive rosters in the NBA. That's what they're built to do, is get stops. So if there's one team that I think will really, really give the Thunder issues that might not really be on the super high radar right now because of where they are in the seedings, it would be the Mavericks. And if I had to pick a team in this series, it's hard to say, really. It's hard to say. I think if Kyrie can play consistent and give you at least 25 a game and maybe like 5-6 assists, and Anthony Davis shows up and he gives you, like I said, 24 to 25 and 10 rebounds, he can give you more than that. But if he does that, Kyrie's consistent, I think they can beat the Thunder. Not saying it would be easy. It would probably be a 6-7 game series, but I think it might be my bias. It might be my bias, but I'm going to lean Mavs in 7. Everybody's going to hate that, but it's okay. This is my channel. Cavs versus Knicks. This one's going to be a short one. The New York Knicks have not shown me that they're a contender this season. And even though I've held out hope for the Knicks, and their record looks very, very fruitful at 37-20, and they've been a very, very good offense this season. They have one of the top duos in the league. They haven't been able to hang with the best teams in the league. I think they're 0-7 against teams that are higher than them in the standings, and that's just not good. That's a terrible sign for them. They can't beat Boston to save their life. They just got blown out by like 40 by Cleveland. Yeah, they can't guard, and that's really the end-all be-all for this team. If they can't get stops, if any decent offensive team gets hot, they're probably going to put them in the dirt in the playoffs, and that's very unfortunate because the Knicks are a team that held their hat on their defense last year, and that just hasn't been the case this year. Karl Anthony Towns as a rim protector is piss poor, to say the least. Like, offensively, Cat's been awesome, but defensively, he's been really, really bad at the rim. Like, he just can't be your rim protector. He might actually be better at the 4 position, which is crazy because I thought Cat at the 4 wasn't great in the first place because of his lateral movement, but at the 5, his rim protection just really isn't there, and we're seeing that this year. So with Cat as your anchor, going up against a team in Cleveland whose offense is just firing on all cylinders, averaging 122 points per game this season, I just don't see them winning that series. I would pick Cleveland in 5 or 6. Next one, we got Bucks Celtics. This might be another short one, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Bucks have looked really, really good to me this year. Their opponent points per game is only 112, which is actually very, very decent, but I feel like their supporting cast, we'll see what the second half of the season looks like and what Kuzma brings them, because Dame and Giannis have done exactly what I thought they were going to do this season. I made a video saying, what should the Milwaukee Bucks do? And I said, just run it back. And them running it back, their record is 32-24. They're the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. They got, in my opinion, what's the top duo this season in Dame and Giannis. I said Dame needs to average at least 25. I think he's averaging 26, 27 right now. Giannis is Giannis. So it could be an interesting series, but at the same token, Boston's whole starting 5 is very, very good. And that 5-out offense is very, very good. They're going to attack Damian Lillard constantly. They're probably going to attack Brook Lopez as well constantly because he's a little flat-footed on the perimeter. So I feel like Boston just has the pieces to dismantle a lot of teams because of the way that they run. They're a perimeter-centric offense. They have guys who are really fast and can move the ball, swing the ball, shoot the ball, dribble the ball, get to the paint. Everybody in their starting 5. Drew Holiday can do it, Derek White can do it, Tatum can do it, Brown can do it, and Kristaps can do it. And then you have all these guys off the bench who get on the court and they're mega shooters like Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard and Luke Cornett, who's been really, really good off the bench. So I just feel like the Celtics are just a tier above. I think the Bucks could give them a decent fight. Like I said, we got to see how the rest of the second half of this season goes. The Bucks also suck when they're not at home. I think they're like 12-15, 12-16, something like that. They're not really good in away games. So you would like to see them pick up the pace as a whole, not just Dame and Giannis, because I feel like that's really been them carrying them this season. So you'd like a little bit better defense, of course, and then you'd like your role players to show up a little bit more, and I think they'd have a decent chance, but I'd probably go Boston in 6. I feel like I've been picking 6 a lot. Next series, we got Rockets versus Warriors, and I think this one's just a fun matchup. I like watching the Warriors play up-and-coming young teams, but I'm going to keep it a bean with you. Warriors in 5. The Rockets don't have a number 1 option. Jalen Green is not a number 1 option right now. I don't believe Sengun is at that level yet. He could show me something in the playoffs, but as of right now, I don't think Sengun is on that level right now. Fred VanVleet's obviously not on that level. Amen Thompson's not on that level. They have a lot of fun guys, a lot of athletic guys, and you have Sengun, who's like a Jokic light. And then you got Fred VanVleet, who's a really great vet. This is a fun team. They're a fast-paced team. They play good defense. But I just don't think that they're better than the Warriors right now. I think if this was before the trade deadline, I'm picking the Rockets. But with Jimmy on this team, they just have a different swag. They have another guy to give the ball to. Jimmy's a great playmaker. Jimmy's getting to the free throw line a lot, and he's playing really, really good defense as well. So I just don't see a world where the Warriors have 2 first options, a really good defense, and a lot of shooters, and they lose to the Rockets. I just don't see it. I'm going to go Warriors in 4 or 5. Lastly, this is a series that I feel like would also be really interesting, and we could potentially get this with them being at such a low seed. Minnesota versus OKC, and they just faced off in 2 straight games, and OKC took the first one. It was a really nice game, and then Minnesota took the second one, and I didn't think it was going to be a nice game, but Minnesota had one of the craziest comebacks I've seen all season, and they ended up winning the game by like 1 point. Anthony Edwards in the like waning moments of the game gets a very clutch block on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going to the rim, and they closed the game out. So I feel like that would just be really fun. Watching Shai versus Ant is always a fun time. Those are 2 of the best up-and-coming stars in the, well, I can't even say up-and-coming anymore. They're here. Those are 2 of the best stars in the NBA. And they're just super fun to watch. They play the same position, so we get to watch them guard each other and go back and forth. It feels like a classic 2-guard matchup, you know what I'm saying? And they're 2 really, really skilled guards. It's giving Kobe T-Mac. You know what I mean? It's giving me Vince. It's giving me early 2000s. It's giving me some D Wade. It's giving me early 2000s shooting guard matchup vibes, and I love those vibes. And these teams honestly look really evenly matched when they face off against each other, and Minnesota's been injured too, so we'll see what they look like when Julius Randle comes back and their offense is fully powered. And I think Gobert out as well? I think Gobert also might be out. That is a different conversation because Rudy Gobert tends to fall off in the playoffs and be a little bit of a detriment in the playoffs. Rudy Gobert, we'll see what he does bring. I feel like because he's so flat-footed, sometimes that does kind of hinder him, but I don't think that the OKC got shooters too. It's just iHeart that's not shooting threes, so they could definitely make a mismatch out of that as well. But it's just a really fun series. I feel like just watching these 2 teams fully healthy in the playoffs would be a monster battle. I would give it to OKC. I just think OKC is the better team, and I thought that from jump. Honestly, they've showed that they're the better team. Even though Minnesota did just come away with this huge win, it took a lot for them to come back and really get that. So I feel like Shai is better than Ant overall. I feel like one-on-one, Shai is going to give you the better performances in that series. And then the supporting cast, you got Chet. J-Dub's been going off this year. I don't think that Julius Randle really is doing like a crazy job at being a number 2 this season. Like, I feel like he could be better for sure. He's averaging 18 and 7 boards, 5 assists, so it's not bad, but he could be better in my opinion. I feel like you want your second option to at least be up over 20 points in 2025. Is that crazy to say? So he's averaging like 19 points a game. It's not far off. It might be a little nitpick, but yeah, I just feel like the Thunder are more cohesive, and they've shown that this is not their first year together. They got some extra playoff experience with each other, and I think they're trying to really win it all. So if they were to play, I think it would be a super tough, super fun matchup, especially the way Ant be going off in the playoffs. I'm going to give the Thunder the edge. I'm going to go Thunder in 6. Hey, if y'all disagreed with me, which I know y'all did. I know you did. But be real though. Are my takes really that bad? It's a game of matchups. Just because one team is the first seed does not mean they're automatically going to beat everybody in the NBA. We seen that last year with the Dallas Mavericks, who beat the first seed, and they beat the 3rd seed, and they beat the 4th seed. So I'm just saying, seeding is not everything. Matchups matter a lot. All right. So if you disagree, check your psyche first. And then when you check, if you still disagree, put it in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like while you're down there, because you made it this far. And I'll catch you on the next one.